Hey, ba-da-ba-ba. Ladies and gentlemen, KocoSports.com proudly presents 5 stars or better. And we're your host, the huge one, Dave Koco, and of course, yours truly, the sexiest man on all of Internet Wrestling Radio. That's right, Boom Boom here, shaking the room live from Mobile in Sweet Home, Alabama. Coco, it's good to be back on this series again. Absolutely love it.
Yep, it's great to be back. And boom, boom, we knew the day would come that, we're old. The one day
Yep.
that we'd actually remember a match. I remember this match. I
Really?
remember this match. I do. As a kid, I was a huge NWA fan, huge Ric Flair fan. He loved Barry Windham. And like the others, you have like that key, do I remember this? Because I was too young. Like,
Mhm.
I remember people talking, because there's a difference of, like, your memory. You remember people talking about it, but you don't actually remember watching it. This, I remember watching. I remember it clearly as day. I remember the ugly-ass 80s couch I was sitting on. I remembered everything. I felt like Ratatouille. You ever see the end of Ratatouille? Where he eats
Oh,
something and he just goes back to his childhood? This, I remember that exactly. This was my Ratatouille match. I knew it would be coming because we're older and we grew up around this age. I mean, I've seen every WrestleMania, so we used to have to go to movie theaters to watch WrestleMania. Um, I've seen a lot of pro wrestling, but when we're doing 5 stars or better, I don't remember any of the matches. I literally remember the couch. I remember the TV. I remember sitting there. I remember everything about this match, which brought me joy and brought me back to my childhood. And you know what? If that's nostalgia, I'll take 3 bottles worth.
absolutely. And Coco, well, first of all, I want to welcome everybody and thank everybody for joining us here. Now, if this is your first time here, this is a series Coco and I are doing where Dave Meltzer, he's a famous professional wrestling journalist, and he has a list of matches that he has given, 5 stars, which is out of, 0 out of 5, and 5 being the best. He's only given a few matches that ranking. So we found the list, and we're just going to review all those matches that Dave Meltzer ranked 5 stars or better, and we're going to take a look at them, and we're going to tell you what was going on at the time and if they still hold up today. Now, as Dave mentioned, the match we're reviewing now took place on January 20th back in 1987. It is Ric Flair versus Barry Windham for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Now, normally this would be the part where I would talk about, um, who the competitors are, what was going on at the time, what were the circumstances? What is the context of the match? Well, we've already done that because if you go back and listen to our podcast, if you go back a few episodes, we've already covered this match. It took place the previous year. So this was a return match. This took place on NWA's Worldwide Wrestling show. That was a syndicated TV show. Now, it would become WCW Worldwide when Jim Crockett Promotions folded over to Ted Turner. So the only really new thing going on this one was Barry Windham was one half of the NWA United States Tag Team Championship champions. Excuse me. He was his partner was Ron Garvin on that one. So that's about the only really new thing. And Tommy Young was the referee. The crowd was absolutely red hot here. This was for a 30-minute time limit. And Coco, real quick, just since you have the nostalgia bomb here, kind of take us back here. What set the stage for it? What was the arena like? What was the reception like? What were the wrestlers and the kind of shape they were in? I mean, just set the stage for us.
Ric Flair at the time was a wrestling god. Like, people just looked up to him. Ric Flair was by far my favorite wrestler at the time. Like, I grew up very poor and I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be Ric Flair. I didn't understand Dusty Rhodes until I was a man and went back and watched it. But a lot of the older, people that took care of me were Dusty Rhodes fans. And I'm like, no, Dusty Rhodes is the hero. And like, as a kid, I didn't understand it. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Ric Flair's rich. He's fucking got women. He's drinking. He's fucking acting like an asshole. That's who you want to be. And then, like, all the men in my life, or, you know, all the adults in my life were like, no, Dusty Rhodes is the hero. And I'm like, you fucking adults don't know shit. And then I remember when as I got older, I was like, oh, yeah, Dusty Rhodes kind of was the hero, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Dusty Rhodes on commentary was amazing. And I remember, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was young. Maybe they treated titles better. I remember it was champ versus champ, and that was a big deal. I remember saying, wow, he's the U.S. tag champs. You know, it wasn't like the never six-man tag titles. It wasn't like the U.S. champ. You know, nowadays, I don't know if what the situation is, but if you had the U.S. tag team titles to now people would just roll their eyes because they can't book, they can't tell stories. But back then, that was important. And I don't know if it's because I was young, you know, if my kids enjoyed pro wrestling. My daughter loves judo and Nakamura and Asuka, but after that, she's like, yeah, why ain't they really beating the shit out of each other? You know, that's my daughter. My son's like, whatever. It's something dad like, sure. So I don't have any kids in my life, but I wonder if, like, the never six-man tag is important to some kid out there. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Or was it they just better at storytelling? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, was it as great as you remember? But, you know, like now, if it was Okada or Ibushi, the IWGP champ, which I think is the best title. I think back then Ric Flair's title was the best title. I think the IWGP title is the best title, even though, oh God, that second title reign every year fucking stops my heart. Hopefully they don't do it this year. I used to always say February, but someone's like, did you know that match actually took place in March? But usually, outside of the second champion of every year, the IWGP title is the most important title. And that's how it felt for Flair. And I was like, oh, now if it was, you know, Ibushi versus one of the never six-man titles, a gun to her head, don't know. I literally watched New Japan all this week. Gun to my head, I have no idea who has the never six-man titles. But he came out, you'd be like, why the fuck does he have that? What does that even matter? So I don't know. I thought that was special. Barry Windham, like, it's weird because nowadays they are all natural athletes who are tested. I'm sorry. I'm taking your drug policy seriously. Oh, give me a move. Give me a second. I'm sorry. At first it started as a fake laugh that turned into a real laugh that I couldn't stop. If you think they're okay, moving on. But Barry Windham was considered a big athletic guy back then. And you look at him now, he's kind of like just an average big dude. So to me, I remember going, wow, how's he going to beat this powerhouse Barry Windham? And Barry Windham, with his body the way it is, in a time machine, goes to WWE. Jim Ross is like, how can I masturbate to this? So it was different. And yeah, it felt special. It felt big. And the fact that Flair respected the business enough to be a heel, dun, 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 really made it interesting because, you know, it was like, oh, Barry Windham's stronger. Barry Windham, it was a great wrestler too. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't Lex Luger. He was a great wrestler, and I remember going, well, Barry Windham's better, but Ric Flair's smarter, you know? It was really interesting, and it was like, how would Ric Flair outsmart this guy? And Dusty Rhodes on commentary was even better because just Dusty and Flair connected in any way, even on commentary, was something special because you just knew storyline wise, you know what I mean? Kayfabe wise, they hated each other. They were complete opposites. And I thought the commentary, when they're not pushing Skittles, was pretty goddamn good. You know what I mean? I don't understand why Dusty Rhodes didn't do more commentary for the Fed. I would rather listen to Dusty Rhodes tell me about grass growing than Jerry the King Lawler do a WrestleMania. That's just me. So overall, I was super excited. It had a big time feel, and when your champion you feel is the best in the world, you always have that big time feel.
You know, and it did feel big. It did feel big. I mean, it was just like it was I don't know want to say it was sold out, but it was a capacity crowd, and they were red hot. It starts with introductions. There's a handshake, the bell rings, and here we go. Um, what I like this match, it was like almost like a callback to their first match the previous year. Um, it, the NWA back then, at least how they did it, at least how they did it with Flair. They had a good formula, and if it, it's like the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think they went right into like the formula that they had, and that is, you got the heel champion, you've got the babyface challenger. So what do? They have the babyface go on offense first. In
And can
this
I can
one,
I just say something
yeah,
before you continue on, sir?
hmm
The thing that I noticed the most was these two guys were arch rivals. We wanted to see them wrestle all the time. You just said it's been a year between matches. This is what, and I pick on Randy Orton, I pick on John Cena, I pick on Dave Batista because I think that's the worst era of pro wrestling ever. Could you imagine Orton and Cena not wrestling each other in their prime for over a year? When you give it away for free every Monday night and don't build up anything, it means absolutely nothing. Go on. I just wanted to add that on because as soon as you said there was a
yeah.
year between the last match, I was just like, that's why it's important.
I don't want to say like a full calendar year, but it was some time had passed. Um, so anyway, the Barry Windham, since he was the challenger, he went on he went on offense first. They did some little bit of chain wrestling, and he got the early advantage. He was doing some big body slams. He was doing a headlock takeover, and then he slows it down. So again, so they set the tempo. It's like boom, here's this baby face. He comes out red hot. He boom right now, automatically got the champion on his heels, and now he's slowing it down. He's grinding. He's working that headlock. Ric Flair tries to make a comeback. He hits some chops in the corners. Boom. Wyndham cuts him off. Hits him with a flurry in the corners. Ric Flair, just no. He's been taking a pounding here. He decides to go take a powder. He goes to the outside. He gets brought back in. Boom, back to the headlock. When working on Flair, boom, TV break or the commercial break, excuse me. They come back. Wyndham working a head scissors. He eventually they tumble to the outside, and now we're going into Flair's territory. Boom! He throws him into the rail. He chops him. He throws him into the post, and he does just enough to kind of keep breaking the referee's count. Now, the last time these two tied it up in the match, if you haven't heard our last podcast, but if you want to go back, please visit that. But if not, fine. And keep listening to this one. They went to it was a double count out. They went to the outside, and referee, did the 10 count, and boom, it was just a double count out. So in this one, Flair, is the one who's does enough to break the count, come back out. They would start working it. Flair starts working over Barry Windham's left arm. He's working him over in the corner. Um, he's even got like a pin on him, and the referee's checking, Wyndham checking his arm, and Flair's got the foot on the rope. Crowd's just, going crazy here. They're like, oh, hey, ref, 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 ref. Wyndham's struggling. He's sucking wind. Flair unleashes some vicious chops. And then eventually Barry Windham, boom, he hits a punch, and then boom, here's this comeback. Here's the comeback. Crowd's absolutely loving it. The crowd's eating it up here. He's laying the punches in the corner. Flair has to get sneaky, has to get the foot on the rope. Wyndham sends Flair to the outside. Boom, another commercial break. We come back. Now Flair's back in control. He tries to go to the outside, but boom, gets suplex both in. Both men are down. Flair hits a backdrop suplex, locks on the figure four. Okay, here we go. He's like on his patented submission hold, and then, of course, referee Tommy Young's checking Wyndham. Do you give up? Do you give up? And while he's checking him, Flair will reach up there and pulls on the ropes. I mean, the crowd's just screaming a little bit louder. Wyndham tries to get like a near roll up and a sunset flip, good enough for a 2 count. Then he starts working the sleeper hold. Wyndham starts working the sleeper hold on Flair, and he manages to escape and, good enough for a 2 count. Wyndham goes for a splash, but boom, Flair gets the knees up. Flair goes back on the attack. Then, they're going back and forth, a suplex, and He comes off the top, misses an elbow. Flair misses a knee drop. It's going crazy. Flair goes up and over. Um, then boom. Now Wyndham's locked on the figure four on Ric Flair, and now Flair's the one, in trouble here. He's Wyndham's got Flair in the corner. He's kicking the living bejesus out of boom. Commercial break. We come back, both men. Now they're trading blows. Now we're getting a little crazy here. The Flair does a hip toss. He hip tosses Barry Windham, but he when he hip tosses him, he hits referee Tommy Young through incidental contact. Not he didn't do this intentionally, but the hip toss on Windham. Windham goes into the referee. Referee's down, and so Windham eventually he gets the advantage. He goes for the pin. He's got a visual pin, but the referee's still down. He's signaling the referee. The referee's slow to go over there. 1, 2, no. Flair kicks out. And so now and then the announcer says, we got 5 minutes remaining in the match, 5 minutes. And now they're stepping it up, belly to belly suplex. They're going for another pinfall, 3 minutes left in the match. Flair, Flair gets caught back in the sleeper again. He's going to try to roll him up. Boom, no, only good for a 2 count. Now 2 minutes left in the match. Wyndham hits a flying lariat. And Flair, is trying to roll out, but no. Barry Wyndham's not going to let him escape. He, boom, suplexes him, knee drop. 1 minute remaining. That goes for a backslide. Good enough for a 2 count. No, 30 seconds remaining. Boom, hits a power slam. 15 seconds remaining. Okay, and then 10 seconds remaining. He lariats. Boom, just lays out Flair. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, and just before the referee comes down for 3, the bell rings. And Wyndham's like, okay, I got this one. I'm the new champion. The referee confirms with the timekeeper. No, we don't have a new champion. Barry Windham if he only had one more second, would have won. He just needed one more second. Nope, 30-minute time limit has expired. It is a time limit draw. Ric Flair hangs on to the title by the skin of his teeth. Barry Windham, not too dejected, calls for the microphone, goes, you know what, I had the champion beat, but I'm not going to walk out with this one because I just didn't get it done, but I will become I will beat Ric Flair, and I will become the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Crowd cheers. And, I think it was a great story told, Coco. Tell me what you thought about it as a kid, and tell me what you think about it as an adult.
The one thing, I'll say the only bad thing is, for the time it was okay because the crowd was hot, but I thought the rest spots were a bit long. And I actually remember when I was a kid, because a lot of people are like, oh, you worked in the business, you were a promoter, you were a booker. I still remember as a kid, especially this match, whenever they went to a rest spot, I just started playing with my wrestling action figures. But in their defense, that was a hot crowd. So if you can do a rest spot, it's there, Outside of the rest spot, I thought it was amazing. The ending was great. The ending is really abused now, but there is something that pro wrestling does wrong that they do right here. Everyone in this universe didn't know if he won, but the fans did. That, a lot of people are like, oh, pro wrestling, kayfabe is dead. But the actual cast kills kayfabe. Like, Dusty Rhodes didn't know. Dusty Rhodes had no idea. I apologize. Was it Shivani who was also on commentary?
Yes,
I forget.
Shivani.
All right, he didn't know. The referee kind of didn't know. Barry Windham was confused. The fucking bell, there was a small conversation. It was a delay. But know who fucking knew? The fans knew. Know who fucking knew? The people watching on television. Little Coco knew. And people were like, oh, fans ruin kayfabe. If this ending's on Raw, the announcers say time ran out. They have too much pride to act like they don't know what's going on. They have too much pride to act it out. There is nothing wrong, but pulling a Stephen King. That the audience is smarter than you. But somewhere along the line, pro wrestlers became kind of fucking weak. And they had to say everything is fucking real. So when they do this finish, the announcers are like, of course the match ended. You know what I mean? There wasn't that drama. And pro wrestling, I don't want to say pro wrestlers, pro wrestling has so much pride that they can't sacrifice not knowing what's going on for more drama. They have to constantly know what's going on. Can you imagine JR or Michael Cole or Taz on that call? Taz can't even let fucking the goddamn wrestlers get their goddamn catchphrases in. There's everyone, all these podcasters that do commentary, and be like, oh, fucking fans ruined the fucking thing. JR wouldn't have done that what Dusty did. The King wouldn't have done what Dusty did. Dusty protected the business. And here's the funny part, wrestling. You don't have to blame the fans to protect the business. Look how fucking hot everyone was. And a lot of people always say, like, oh, they didn't fucking know. Do you trust me? Boom, boom, we're old. Everyone in your fucking family knew wrestling was predetermined at this point. But it didn't matter because they had fucking pride in showmanship. Now, instead of pride in showmanship, you're like, oh, stupid fucking fans. They're cheering for someone. We worked them. I don't know why. I just was so happy how much pride Dusty Rhodes had in it. Because, am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. No one today would have made the proper call. That's on mainstream wrestling TV shows. No one in AEW would have made the proper call. No one in WWE would have made that proper call. And then they blame the fans. Boom, boom. When you watch this, as a kid or now, you knew time ran out. But did you have Jerry King Lawler, JR, or Taz calling you a fucking idiot?
I don't know if they would have called you an idiot. I think they would have gone, I think they would have played it up at least. I know Excalibur would. It would have been like, okay, the challenger had the champion pinned. The referee, I heard the bell ring before the referee, could count to three. Did we get to the time limit? Did we get to the time limit? I think that's how they would have done today.
I don't think so. I think JR would have cut him off and said, no, the time, like, they have to be experts. I disagree. I maybe Excalibur would have done it. Maybe the NXT guy that fucking does MMA, I can't think of his name right now, I apologize. The best guy in the business would have done it. There's no way Taz does it. There's no way JR does it. There's no way Michael Cole does it. There's no way Jerry King Lawler does it. And that's the thing. I think this showed me why pro wrestling was great. They had pride, they had honor, and they didn't blame the fans.
Well, as far as the ending goes, I liked it because the champion still retained, but he made the babyface again look like $1 million. I mean, the challenger did, he lost the match, but he didn't look like an idiot. He didn't look weak. He just looked like a guy. It's like he had the champion on the ropes the first time, count out. Okay, he gets a rematch with the champion. He goes he had him beat. He literally just needed one more second, and he would have been the champion.
Yeah.
And there's, and it's one of those, and he was like, you know what? He's not going to, he doesn't cry about it. He doesn't whine about it. He doesn't ask for 5 more minutes. He's like, you know what? I'm going to beat you, Ric Flair. I'm going to walk out of here one day as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
And first off, he looked like a man's man that drinks Coco's Coco. Second, he didn't look stupid. So there is an advantage that this wrestling had back then. those fans wouldn't have seen Ric Flair for maybe another 6 months. So that is a
Exactly.
huge
And that's
advantage.
another thing. And
That's
that's
a huge
another thing.
advantage
He had
they
to
have
wait
back
like
then.
yeah, he had to wait like a year for this match,
But second,
and then he takes the champion to the time limit. For all practical purposes, had him beat, and it's like I'm gonna have to wait a whole another year to wrestle this guy again.
yeah, and I think it's really good. Some Japanese companies do this pretty well, but it's usually the Japanese companies that live are based outside of Japan. Like me and Bearfriend, we saw a horrible show, but the main event was pretty good. And it was Suzuki-gun, and he just kicked the shit out of their champion. And he's like, well, we're going to go back to our small island and come back next year. But with internet, television shows, so much television, I don't think they could do that. Or they just have to push more people so it's not the same people over and over and over. But that's not going to happen. Maybe at AEW's level. I don't think that's going to happen with the big guy. But yeah, like a lot of times because the matches have to happen so much and we see them so much. Like I think this was special because I'm putting it to like where it's disappointing. I think this is special because Ric Flair had talent. He had respect for beyond talent, but let's just do the check marks. He had talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
He fucking was a great wrestler, and he had a respect for the business that he'd be a heel. So, well, if you were a Barry Windham fan, you're like, oh, we'll get him next year, or we'll get him next time. And he was a man about it. Now, let's fast forward. If this match happened today, let's say Ric Flair plays the part of John Cena, and Samoa Joe plays the part of Barry Windham, okay?
Mm-hmm.
John Cena doesn't have the talent that Ric Flair does, or pretty much anyone. And I don't mean to pick on John Cena, but to me, he defines this era. You could throw in anyone. Now, if anyone's out there like, oh, you pick on John Cena a lot. When you define an error, you're open to this. You know what I mean? If you want, throw in Randy Orton or Dave Batista. I pick on John Cena because he's the face of this generation or the generation of past. Now, I don't know who the hell the face is of WWE. But, and even if, what is it, Roman Reigns? I don't know. But it doesn't matter. The spirit of John Cena lives on. So he doesn't have the talent. He does not have the respect of the business to go heel. And it's going to happen right away. Then Samoa Joe loses, but they don't even make him look strong like they did with Barry. I was about to say Barry Horowitz, Barry Windham. Then Samoa Joe either disappears or cuts a whiny heel promo. And then they do the same thing next week. And it's just, I know you can't go back, but for a lot of people inside the business who cry that should be like the old times, they really don't focus on the old times. I wish WWE and all these guys went down memory lane and looked at it and saw what was going on. Now, I don't think you could do the rest spots, but the rest you could probably do. And even the rest spots you can do during a commercial break. So, I don't know. I wish we learned from the past. Because to me, it feels like today's pro wrestling is like you don't fucking know anything. This is the way pro wrestling's always been. And then you go back and watch it and you're like, no, this is not true. This is not true. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you here. This was given 5 stars back in 1987. Do you think it deserved 5 stars?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes.
I think it does too. I think it was. I think the match itself. Let's take everything out of it. Just look at the match itself. I think it deserved the 5 stars. I think they told a great story. You had the challenger who was hungry. He had for the most part, had the heel, on the defensive for the most of the match. Then the champ kind of showed why he was the champ. He used the sneaky tactics to get the advantage, and he got beat up. He had to overcome. That when he was getting his arm worked on, and then he, in the underhanded tactics, grabbing the rope, keeping the feet on the rope. The referee bump. he had to overcome that. He mounted a comeback, and he came up just short, and it's kind of heartbreaking. But I think the thing that really played into it is, you know, he waited just slightly over a year for this rematch. He came up short, and he was like, I came even closer this time. I'm going to get him next time. And he would actually have to wait for just a little over a year to get a rematch because Coco, these two actually tied it up again a little more than a year later that also got ranked 5 stars. But we're going to have to talk about that another day because we've actually got a couple more matches ahead of them. We're going to go back to Japan for those.
Oh man, I can't wait. Sorry about that. I was adjusting the volume, and my volume was too loud. I was like, "Don't talk yet. Don't talk yet." So yeah. What's the match in Japan? Oh, please tell me it's the Great Muta. The Great Muta. Great Muta. Great Muta.
No, we do get to him eventually, but
God.
in fact, he is in one of these two matches coming up. But first, we're going to go back to All Japan's Women's Wrestling. We're gonna the Crush Gals are gonna tie it up. Lioness Asuka is gonna make her second appearance on this podcast, and she's gonna go mano a mano with her tag team partner Chigusa Nagoya.
This is good times.
The next month it was in February of '87. So it was a show in Kawasaki, but we're gonna have to wait till
Kawasaki, the home of me and Bear Friends. At least that's where we grew up. I love me some Kawasaki. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I can't wait to see it. So yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, they were so groundbreaking. I mean, when you watch these matches, you got to remember this was the '80s, and it's just amazing. So I can't wait to see it.
Well, Coco, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I'm just going to say real quick with Flair and Windham, do you think it still gets 5 stars today?
I do, but okay, I think it gets 5 stars today if everybody is involved in this. If Barry Windham's involved, if Ric Flair is involved, if Tony Schiavone's involved, if Dusty Rhodes is involved, it gets 5 stars. You replace any of those guys,
exactly.
It doesn't get 5 stars.
Match, but I'm just saying the match itself, if it was done today, if they got into a time machine, they went to the current year, does it get 5 stars? I say the answer for me. I say the answer is yes.
I say yes, but I want it to be known that the athletes and the commentary had a huge factor in that. You replace one of those 4 men, I think it doesn't get 5 stars. Like if it's Ric Flair versus, I don't know, Randy Orton, the 5 stars goes away. If you replace Dusty Rhodes with a WWE guy, the 5 stars go away.
Yep, absolutely.
I think it's 5 stars with the talent they had back then. I don't think today's talent, I think they're more athletic. I don't think they could pull off this match. And it's not for athletic reasons, if that makes sense.
All right, Coco. Looks like we're going to have to leave it there.
All right.
Anything you want to promote and plug?
Twitch.tv/KocoSports, Lucky the Orphan, Operation Freak Show on Amazon, DaveKoco.com, and I got 30 days, so I won't be crazy full-time. I retired, went part-time, a teacher quit, I'm covering that teacher, so expect more me and Boom Boom. And I did an AEW review, and people missed you, Boom Boom. People were like, what the hell? Where's the guy that holds this crazy pot together? So me and Boom Boom, slowly but surely, maybe in a month or two, we'll settle our lives, and I just want to rebuild the channel to what it was. 5 years ago, this place was pretty rocking. We got to bring it back, and I'm enjoying watching these old time matches a lot, and especially this one because it was so nostalgic. Booms, do you have anything to add?
No, just thank you each and every one of you for joining us. We have links to this match down here in the comments section, or in the description section, excuse me. And if you've missed any of our podcasts, be sure to check it out at YouTube, KocoSports. It's KocoSports.com.
And the second thing is, we need to start saying in the beginning that the link is down below. If anyone in the comment section, and not many people get it because the algorithm hates us, but if someone in the comment section is, I'm looking for the match, just be like, you're the one, and there's a link in the thing. That's what we need. Just be like, don't even say what they are, because then when it comes in and be like, where's the actual match? The best part is when the match is actually on YouTube. So listen, from now on, if somebody goes, hey, I want to know where the link to the match is, you just say, you're the one. Link is in the description. That's it. You'd be doing the Lord's work. You'd be doing the Lord's work. All right, boom boom. I love you. I'll talk to you in a second. Everyone else, we'll see you soon. Soon. We're getting closer and closer to putting these shows together. With that, I am over. Hey, ba-dum, bum, bum.